Legendary Series Week 6. It's time for the semifinals. Hope you guys had a lot of fun. The quarterfinals were absolutely exquisite. Now, our semifinals will definitely be just as fun, if not more. We have Hyped versus Zalae, followed by Magic Amy versus Flybird. And that's not the top four that I pegged. In fact, I think I guessed almost everything wrong here. I did pick Hype to win his first series, but I was picking Show, I was picking 6-0, and I even picked Trump to win that series over Magic Amy. Yes, I know people are going to get a little bit like, how can you do that? But I was feeling it for Trump that time, until, of course, Ragnaros decided to take away that series right from Trump's grasp.
Yeah, it was a fun series that went all the way to 5 games, and of course, really exciting finish. But we have 2 exciting storylines maybe heading into the finals, potentially.
Yep.
Either an all-tempo Storm finals, which I'm sure you'd be happy to see,
Cool.
or 2 players, being Magic Amy and Zalae, who actually came from that open bracket, that Challenger Series Cup that happens every single Sunday. And of course, if you guys want to take a look at that, you can head over to esl.gg/legendary series to check out that tomorrow. But we are heading over to the match plate for this first semi-final matchup between Zalae and Hyped.
It's a really good point. People who are watching and they feel like they can be like Zalae, like a guy who's challenging other people, just go ahead and sign up at the esl.gg/legendary series and get your opportunity to. Taking a look at the matchup breakdown, we have Paladin versus Rogue. That's a matchup I wasn't expecting to see today. And then Druid versus Mage.
Not a matchup I was expecting to see today either.
And then we have Handlock versus Zoo, which I'm pretty sure Hyped wanted to avoid at all costs.
Yeah.
Because I think he brought Zoo to punish these other 2 classes specifically.
I still think Rogue is decent against Paladin. It all comes down to if they can line up their sometimes limited amount of AoE on like Muster for Battles or the big early boards. If they can stall a Paladin's momentum once, usually that type of Rogue that Hype's bringing, the mid-rangey control type Rogue, then they can usually have the ability to close out games against that. But I'd say first game is kind of a toss-up. I would actually give the second match over to Hyped, which is the Mage versus Druid, and then the third matchup over to Zalae. Okay. Which is the Handlock versus
So he'll have an advantage in this series.
Yeah.
But we'll see if things are able to pan out the way they're supposed to, at least on paper. And of course, the winner of this gets top 2. So you're guaranteed at least 35 points, which is important for Zalae at least because he already has 15 points from the previous week. Combine that with, well, you get a chance to play for the direct seed into the finals. One person out of the remaining 4 here will be going straight to California on February 21st, 22nd for our off-season 20K LAN, or our offline, excuse me.
To join Darquanix, who was the Week 5 winner and the first player to qualify. And of course, we will be seeing all 4 players that made it to the semifinal, the 3 other players besides the winner who made it into the semifinals next week for week number 7. So both these players can be happy with where they've got, but at the same time, so much still on the line to make it even further.
Well, lots of cool stuff already developing. We do have a pretty early game start for Paladin. He'll be able to curve out pretty nicely. Not necessarily in the terms of the mana 2, 3, 4, but the idea that you have something to play every turn other than hero powering.
Blade Flurry, I think, is a really fantastic draw in this matchup. Just because a lot of times it can help you deal with some of that early push that I talked about, that this new age Paladins usually bring. Fan of Knives also is a really great card.
Fan of Knives is so important in this matchup specifically, just because Muster for Battle can overwhelm you very quickly, especially if you allow it to live past 2 turns for Quartermaster. So I am very much in favor of, like, if you have Fan of Knives, keep it against Paladin. Yeah.
And in a lot of matchups, Fan of Knives from this Rogue deck is like a cycle card. But against some classes, especially Paladin, really need to hold on to that.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, now Zalae's in an awkward spot because, like, this Knife Juggler is going to get taken out very easily, and then he's going to effectively lose his board for virtually nothing. Just a little bit of damage, especially now that this Violet Teacher gets out and it contests. Violet Teacher is just so strong, especially if your opponent doesn't have a strong board.
Yep.
Your opponent has to have Choose over Champion, or else this Violet Teacher might run away with the game. It's going to start keeping up so well with the 1-1s and control the pace of the state of the board for turns to come.
Black Knight in Paladin, so...
Not useful in this matchup.
No, well, I mean, in a way it is for Sludge Belchers.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
But...
Forgot about Sludge Belcher.
I guess not necessarily as useful as it would be in other matchups, but still Black Knight on a Sludge Belcher is pretty decent. But yeah, these Violet Teachers are going to start to become very problematic. Leaving down the board like that without even denting it, especially this early on, can just let the rogue sort of run away. He does have Consecration, so he's not too worried because he can deal with the tokens.
Yeah, but
so
I mean,
risky.
this spell-powered Shiv still is really annoying, considering the context of it. It like it still creates another token. It draws another card. Pretty high impact.
Yep.
Oh man, that is probably the worst outcome. Sort of like, I mean, is there anything worse than a 1-1?
Is that a troll question?
No, like, is there a zero attack minion that I'm missing right now? I guess Lore Walker Cho?
Nat Pagel.
No, I mean, that Pego at least still draws you a card potentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Lore Walker Cho would stink, I guess. Oh, I guess it's okay too.
None of these zero
Rogue can't
attack
use it.
creatures really have as big of a drawback as like a Battle Cry 1/1.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. Well, Sludge Belcher is also rather problematic just because of its stat distribution.
Yeah.
How do you effectively dissect this?
I mean, you could Earthen Ring Farce your Violet Teacher to keep it alive to the Sludge Belcher, and then or just try and cycle first with the Blood Mage, but that
Yeah, that's
doesn't
definitely
feel
a possibility.
It doesn't feel great because you're not utilizing the spell power. But Fan of Knives is okay here because you have the second Fan of Knives available for like a muster battle or something along those lines. So this is still pretty effective.
The nice thing is that he's getting a really large card advantage, and if Zalae feels inclined to consecrate next turn, that's taking up his entire turn, and he already has a weapon out. So he can take complete initiative on the board, just like tossing out Sludge Belcher or Gallywix, and then Paladin's going to be in an awkward spot.
This line of play plays around Consecrate pretty well too, because that Violet Teacher's already got a lot of mileage out of that thing.
Right.
And
I think 4 1/1s have been created.
yeah, which that damage really adds up over time, and it creates that huge card advantage. Sabotage is such a cool card.
The animation is surprisingly like beautiful. Like it's like one of those things where the atmosphere and the clouds and then the slice across the neck.
I've never actually had an interaction with Sabotage and Tyrion, but I'd imagine Ashbringer would survive.
Oh, I think so. No, I think Ashbringer dies.
Really?
It says destroy any minion, random any minion, then destroy your opponent destroy your opponent's weapon. So I feel like that if that happens in sequence, Lightbringer or Ashbringer actually.
So Sabotage is the ultimate counter to Tyrion if that's the case.
If you can combo it.
If you can combo it, which is pretty easy. It's 4 mana. Come on.
Yeah, it's not terribly difficult. You're right. Second Sludge Belcher going to get taken down here. Once again. And look at that. That 1/1 token coming in pretty clutch once more.
Yes.
It's just a little bit of extra damage. You can see it as a delayed Knife Juggler in a way if it's allowed to proc. That's why Violet Teachers are just such a big threat.
This deck is beautiful. I just want to say. This Rogue deck is one of my favorite decks in the game. Right now.
I mean, we both were playing it right before the broadcast. You're playing this one exactly?
Oh, pretty much exactly, but
No
with no
Gallywix?
trade Prince Gallywix.
Do you have Trade Pix Gallywix?
No.
Do you have a golden Trade Prince Gallywix?
No for
You're doing it wrong, man.
But I do have a golden Deathwing.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah. Okay, well, this is a really just awkward turn.
Yep.
Consecrate it doesn't accomplish really anything. You take out the Violet Teacher, which is great. Because that Violet Teacher has already just destroyed you thus far this game. Doesn't really have another choice.
Well, the alternative is to just hero power, but this is where the card advantage just starts getting ridiculous. Let's see, what's the best way to go about this? I think maybe just dropping Sludge Belcher.
Sludge Belcher.
Taking it slow. I don't think... I mean, I guess you could get away with...
Trade Prince.
Yeah, dropping a minion like the Trade Prince. But you're just so far ahead and you've leveraged the board so often. I mean... Trade Prince is also stronger than Sludge Belcher, just in so many ways. The stats prevents your opponent from doing anything. It's just that...
So many options.
I suppose I'm making that judgment based off of the Alder Peacekeeper that's in the opponent's hand. And of course, Galax would just be a 1/8. And it's like, eh.
It's such a problematic card to deal with.
Right. I mean, Hype doesn't have any way of knowing that. He's already seen an Alder Peacekeeper, so he feels like this Galax will be pretty effective.
You wanted to hear what it said, but you were
Right.
talking over it. I
I
tried to listen for you, but I
And?
couldn't make it out. Couldn't make it out. Sorry, I apologize. What does it say? That's one piece of knowledge that our admin doesn't know and can't whisper into my ear. What Trade Prince Galawick says when he's summoned.
Oh, man.
Oh,
I
well.
guess we're about to find out if
Oh.
this happens, by the way. Oh,
And that's
he's
the
got
perfect
Violet
card to do it
Teacher.
with.
Violet Teacher plus Sabotage. I'm pretty sure it works like it destroys Ashbringer, and Zalae is about to get wrecked with a capital R.
Destroy a random
EKT,
enemy minion
all
and your
spaced
opponent's
out.
weapon. I don't think it does. Because it's destroy the minion and destroy the
I
weapon.
think Hyped is also wondering too.
Not destroy the minion, then destroy the weapon. It's and instead of then.
Is there any better way to try it out than now though?
No. Well, actually, yes. Because
Because you need to kill that minion anyways. There's no way to like silence it.
you can kill it off without
Many options.
using sabotage, and then use sabotage to get rid of the weapon.
You're right.
Or you can just be bold and say, you know what?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
For science!
This is one of the things where you have to actually have
Too soon.
played this deck a lot to know. But I'm pretty sure if you sabotage, you kill the Ashbringer too.
I've played probably like 50 games of this deck.
Do it!
And
Hyped,
I've
you're running out
never-
of time.
Nope.
Okay, he does it.
Okay. Well, judging by that play, I would think that it doesn't destroy. Because I'd imagine, out of all players, Hyped would know.
It does feel like that, right? Because Hyped is one of the more... Like, he's played so many games.
But he did rope. So
He did think about it.
you would think that play would be pretty, not easy,
Automatic.
but maybe a little bit faster than roping, if he did know. Because I don't know.
I'm going to have to try that out. But
Yeah. Or we'll experiment.
if he did, then he just wasted a lot of health on his Gallywix. I don't think there's much to think about. You have to get rid of that Gallywix as soon as possible. The problem is, Hyped has so many more cards where that came from as soon as he just sprints.
And where does that deck like top out at? Like is
This deck?
this Paladin deck?
Usually Tyrion is the latest card you have. I haven't seen a Paladin deck run anything higher like Ysera in a long time.
And it was removed relatively efficiently, I'd say.
Gallywix?
No,
Oh,
Tyrion.
Well, it took a card and a half, so. So now he has ways to make the True Sword Champion even more inefficient. If you just SI7 agent down this 1/1 and play Sludge Belcher, or you can just weapon up and save it too. Either way, Hyped has to find a way to start counter pressuring because he's got so much. He's got so many good minions here in his hand, high quality. Just has to figure out how to piece it together to start pushing against Zalae, who's honestly just been sitting duck.
He's got to be pretty happy about, not necessarily happy, but relieved to see that there's actually taunt in this deck for him to make use of the Black Knight. And Harrison Jones as well, that could play
That's good.
a
Card
big part in this matchup as well.
Now, Black Knight coming down on this Sludge Belcher is going to be a surprise, but at the same time, it doesn't like swing it completely back yet.
I wonder.
Yeah, you would still have to get through that slime to be able to get to the SI agent, which would force him to make the decision of just holding on to his True Silver champion, or wasting a lot of that potential damage on just a slime. Because then the slime would challenge into hero power, but I mean it's still an automatic play, I think, here. And do you hold? Is the big question.
I feel like that 1-2 slime is like, especially if you're playing a hero power now, you should take out that slime so that way it's not inefficient with how you deal with it. Because then you lose the token essentially for free. So I think you should kill it off if you plan on hero power. Because now you need to start fighting for card advantage again, or like some relevance.
Oh,
That's the perfect draw right now.
yeah. Double sap.
Remember, this is a deck that's oriented around killing Handlock. He's got 2 saps, he's got Sabotage, he even has a big game hunter in here.
Yeah.
And he's about to kill the Paladin too. In fact, I think Hype's Rogue, assuming it goes on to win this game. Oh, True Silver Champ is a really good draw.
It could be a decent choice to run in just about any scenario if we go to blind pick.
Well, it struggles against Warrior, I think.
That's true.
Or maybe it struggles against some really aggressive decks too, like Hunter.
I think Warrior is it's pretty problematic. Sabotage makes it a little better, but not really, because Sabotage can be hard to use.
It might struggle against like the decks that require you to use your weapon to attack your like the leopard gnomes and stuff. Although I feel like it's decent against Zoo with some of the preps that you can squeeze in.
Mm-hmm.
Zalae taking his time, thinking about it. Just his playstyle, it's how he does things. But True Silver Champion is definitely one of the best cards to draw, and I think tossing out Harrison to draw is also appropriate. But I think he's playing greedy and he wants to catch a 2-charge weapon here.
Yeah, he hasn't, or even just be more like impactful with the Harrison Jones. And
Yikes.
take out a deadly poison weapon.
Oh, it's got to be ragtime, right?
I believe it should be.
Do you need to? You also have an opportunity to sprint relatively unharmed. It is 7 damage on board. But I think Ragnaros is just much better.
Yeah, but there's so many other opportunities where you can use sprint as like a more efficient tool, like with preps, like Violet Teacher prep sprint.
Alright, snipes the 3-3. That's pretty much what Hyped wanted. Oh,
Yikes!
I don't think that's what he wanted.
Well, Harrison
Muster
Jones,
for battle to decrease all the odds of Rag hitting. Oh, there's Blade Flurry though on the other end.
Yeah.
So in the end, it won't matter.
Yeah, I think you got a Harrison Jones here just to try and draw into an answer.
Quartermaster. Well, it looks like he won't be able to kill Ragnaros this turn. But he can definitely make it a little bit harder for Ragnaros to hit an ideal target.
And then if those 1/1s do live, then Quartermaster would be pretty good. And he's also got Cult Master as well as a draw engine to combo with those Muster for Battles, but he has to expect that.
Hyped has used both of his Fan of Knives too. Blade Flurry is his last AoE. Unless he's running 2 of them, which is not very common in the deck.
Oh no.
So the Quartermaster with Muster for Battle could be pretty devastating because Rogue's not at much health. A face attack!
Whoa.
Whoa! Is he gonna Muster for Battle now? That is greed. But you know what? He wants to set up as many rag targets as possible too.
And sets up for a Quartermaster at lethal if there's no AoE. Or close to.
Right.
Puts on the pressure.
So Blade Flurry most certainly will be coming down here, and I think the Violet Teachers can allow him to match the 1/1s. So from here, seems like Zalae will have to find a way to piece together damage. Oh, even sapping Harrison Jones so he can put on pressure.
Wow.
Another 1-1. It's good. So that
Yeah.
way the 8 damage goes to the face and puts him on a potential kill next turn. I like it. No reason to have 2 of them in hand.
Yeah. Very bold play. Doesn't.
Oh man, if it paid off though, look at what would have happened.
That would have been. Zalae knows it. He's thinking,
Well,
imagine the possibilities.
I think he's imagining how dead he is at this point. I don't think he can do anything.
I don't think he
This
even
rogue deck is undefeated still.
I don't think he even has to imagine that. It's reality. He's dead. He's as good as dead.
There's nothing he can do. There's no cards he can draw. There's he can do his best to try and load up the board, but I don't know if he can even stop a guaranteed shot. I guess it depends on whether or not Hyped wants to show some cards, like a second sap. But it should be fine.
He could set up a. Well, Prep Sprint is just so powerful right now. Oh, that's
Prep
lethal.
sprint. I mean, he's just having fun here.
Well, that was like if he didn't want to show second sap. That was if under the condition that he didn't want to show second sap.
Right, right.
Because
So
that's
he
that
just,
actually
he
could
just
be a
showed
big
him a
deal.
second sap.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up game number 1, and once again, this really cool control rogue is doing work.
It is.
Yeah,
It's doing a lot of work.
it is. And that's going to bring it straight to Druid versus Mage. Now, this matchup, I feel like whenever I play like a slow Giants Mage against Druid, they just do